engage in this kind of a battle. It's a unique way of getting a gang war underway, and we think it makes great television, and we think it makes the mark of the best of Texas wrestling very easily. So now, let's have some action.
Well, the rings are starting to fill up with people. And right now, before things bust too far loose, we're going to call on Boyd Pierce to introduce them to you.
This event, 2 out of 3 falls with no time limit to a finish. There will be one man from each team in each ring, and the remaining member will be in between the rings during this match. Your contestants, team of Gino Hernandez, Gran Markus, and Killer Brooks. Their opponents, Mascaras, Halcon, and Super Sock Jose Lothario. 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit, 2 referees. There'll be one man from each team in each ring. The remaining member of the team will be in between the rings during this match.
Well, there you have the contestants. This is a 2-ring, 6-man tag team event. One match will be going on in each ring, and one man from each team will be stationed in between the 2 rings, and he may tag to either side. So this makes for continuous action, and you are looking at 6 guys who are capable of continued action. Gino Hernandez, the spark plug of his team, Gran Markus, the tough guy, and Killer Brooks, who was christened Gonzalez last week by Hernandez. And now we've got in ring number 2, that's the one closest to you, Gran Markus with a white mask, and Jose Lothario. And in the far ring, it's Halcon and Gino Hernandez with Mascaras and Killer Brooks in between. So you just keep your eye open. Over in far ring number 1, Halcon has made a magnificent move. And in the close ring, the man being bounced is Gran Markus, and this tremendous crowd here at the Sam Houston Coliseum busts loose with a roar of approval as the opening moments of this match erupt in volcanic action as was expected. Now, Mexico's great star, Mascaras, is in the ring. There he is with Gino Hernandez in ring number 1. Mascaras doing the pounding. That's Halcon with a mask on in between the rings. Brooks is in with Jose Lothario. Gino Hernandez is bouncing on the knee of Mascaras. Over the top rope he went and onto the concrete. So now we've got Halcon and Killer Brooks in the close ring. And Brooks trying to shoulder butt Halcon. And whoa, did he catch a drop kick? Mascaras, far ring, Gran Markus. And Mascaras into the ropes, and Mascaras bounces Gran Markus. Driving kick, and in comes Gino Hernandez right into the rapid-fire machine gun-like wallops of Mascaras. I tell you, so much going on here, it's almost impossible to even tell you who's doing what to who, and all we can say is that the fans here see continuity of action that is absolutely unequaled. There goes Hernandez through the rope. Gino on the concrete over there on that far side. On the close side, Brooks being set up by Halcon. Halcon doing that diving head-first tackle. And Mascaras comes out to the center, and Jose Lothario steps in against Gran Markus. Lothario set up by Markus, and he came off to knee in with tremendous force. In the far ring, Markus going into the rope, and again, clothesline shot. Gino in the country, Lothario back shooting, and Halcon almost pins Killer Brooks. striking battle going on in ring number 1, and here in ring number 2, a close fall. But into ring number 2 comes Mil Mascaras against killer Tim Brooks. And when that man throws that head-first tackle, he finds his mark. And Mil Mascaras ties up Brooks there against the rope. And in the far ring, it's Gran Markus and Jose Lothario. Mascaras caught in the side headlock, trying to shake his way loose. Hit him with a shoulder. Mascaras doing the dodging and driving at his he's got killing. He had Brooks hopping over him so much that he literally tripped. So Mascaras works with the flying mare and turns him over to El Halcon. Mascaras just come in the ring on that far side to hand a wallop to Gran Markus. And it's Gino in with Halcon in the close ring. For Halcon, who is shaking his muscles, trying to rid himself of the grip on his shoulder muscles. He's wiggling his body and just about to come out. And things right now are busting loose as on the far side, it's Markus holding exactly the same hold on Jose Lothario. And they're trying to work something together. Tim Brooks and over the top rope and over both ropes and into the same ring. I think they're going to try to work the same thing with Lothario. And Lothario is thrown into this ring, and the first time I've seen that maneuver. But in between, Mil Mascaras starts to take over on Tim Brooks. Gino pours the pressure on Jose Lothario. You see Brooks in the background. And that left come up there beautifully. Jose Lothario measured him and caught him. On top is Halcon in the far ring, on top of Gran Markus. There he goes, diving head first again. And top man is Halcon, but he didn't pin him, and in comes Gino Hernandez to face Halcon in the far ring. In the close ring, it's Mil Mascaras with a figure 4 arm lock on Tim Brooks of Waxahachie, or Tim Brooks Gonzalez, if you will, his honorary name. And Gino Hernandez kicks Halcon through the ropes and off onto the floor. And again, as he tries to come in, he is met with the same kind of tactics. And Lothario had Markus by the mat, and they could have a fall. He's got a fall. The first fall of this 2 out of 3 fall battle. This 2-ring, 6-man tag team event. The first fall goes to El Halcon as he pins Gino Hernandez, and the ball goes to the team of Mil Mascaras, Jose Lothario, and El Halcon. We'll be back here in a moment. Less than a minute in the intermission period between falls. The jockeying around for position is taking place. Tim Brooks has moved into ring number 2, and so far no answer from the team of Halcon, Mascaras, and Lothario. But neither has anybody moved in to face Mil Mascaras in the ring number 1. That's the far ring. Referee Bronco Lubitsch is in ring number 1. We're waiting. Timekeeper is counting down. And we're under 10 seconds. And nobody is moving in against Tim Brooks, and nobody's moving in against Mil Mascaras. There's the bell, and now somebody's got to move in. As Mascaras steps out, Mascaras steps in, and he has moved out to go after Gran Markus, and now we've got everything taking place in ring number 1. There goes Brooks went into ring number 1, and now we've got Mil Mascaras and Gran Markus in the ring closest to you. 2 of Mexico's top men. And Halcon rates right in exactly that same position. Here is Gino Hernandez with a grip, and look at Mil Mascaras with as fancy a move as you're ever going to see. Wrestling 2 men at a time, literally, and he is bouncing them in all directions. Mil Mascaras, star of stage, screen, radio, television in Mexico, and here in the United States, best known for his tremendous wrestling ability. There's a touch. Markus holds him. Gino Hernandez comes in the close ring. In the far corner, Halcon is in danger of losing his mask. Killer Brooks is working on it. So Gino works over Halcon's mask. There is the driving chop, and again across the side headlock. Halcon with Killer Brooks at the far ring. Watch Mil Mascaras. He had nobody to touch. Halcon was not in the corner, and Halcon now goes over to help Jose Lothario. Mascaras is going. There's Mascaras now, able to touch with El Halcon, who stays outside the ring and starts to try to fight his way in. His laces for his mask are waving in the breeze. In the far corner, Markus in the white mask battling Lothario, and things flying in all directions. So Halcon. And Hernandez, Gino into the ropes, and a drop. And Lothario is working on Markus' mask, just as they were working on the mask of Halcon just a few moments ago, and he's trying to get even with him. So we've got more shoelaces flying in the breeze, and Markus is forced to fight into his mask as Jose Lothario pounds his face and pulls his mask at exactly the same time. Markus the man down. There is a possible pin, and Gino Hernandez averted defeat by pounding down on the head of El Halcon. Close ring, it's Mil Mascaras and Brooks. Brooks trying to set Mil up. Back of his elbow, and he caught him in there solidly. And the guy from Waxahachie is pounding away at the Mexican mat star. There you see a front headlock that could be a chokehold. Danny McShane says it is. And Mil's reaction says it is too. We've got Gino Hernandez in the ring in the far corner where he doesn't belong, the far ring. And Lothario just caught a wallop in the midsection. He has touched with Halcon. Halcon has come in to face Gino Hernandez. And in the close ring, Brooks is having more trouble with Mil Mascaras, and Gran Markus was starting to come in the ring when Jose put a stop to it. There's Markus going in against Halcon. Markus, you saw him lift Halcon up, drop him down. Hernandez in the far corner, spins him back. There is a fall. And falls are even as Gino Hernandez gains the fall on El Halcon. There it is. That means each team has one fall. Halcon has won a fall and lost a fall. But there is still the most important fall to go, as we now tell you. We'll be back here in a moment.
That the womanly art of self-defense means that common sense is the best weapon that you can have.
Out goes Neil Mascaras. And out goes Gino in more ways than one. And Gran Markus has blood coming from the mouth of his mask, and he goes to work on Lothario. Now they have cornered El Halcon right here above us, and ring number 2 with Brooks at the inside doing the pounding. Neil Mascaras is trying to tie his mask over there. Now he touches Halcon and comes in, and in the far ring, Gran Markus is in behind Lothario and working on his head. Mascaras, and he came out there with his arms as he saw he was going to miss with his head. He flops on top of Killer Brooks. He didn't pin him. Neil Mascaras outside the ring, and Brooks gets pounded. And Neil Mascaras diving off that rope, and he hit him solidly, tremendously. There it is! Uproar, uproar. A tremendous uproar here. Neil Mascaras, Jose Lothario, and El Halcon win the 2-ring, 6-man tag team event. Outside now, we've got the losers as they commiserate with each other and head for the dressing room. And up in the ring, there are the winners. Neil Mascaras, Jose Lothario, El Halcon, and a great reception from this huge crowd at the Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas. Will be
New Jack. 1960 or prior to that time, on St. Patrick's Day. You're looking at Irish Danny McShane as he tells the fans here that he insists on painting Bull Curry green as the contract called for. And here is McShane arguing because some of the fans thought Bull Curry should not have been painted green because he had injured his thumb. But McShane was armed with the paintbrush and ready to do a Rembrandt-like job on Mr. Bull Curry. But Curry's thumb was dislocated, and Curry was having problems. And here you see Danny McShane telling one referee, Otto Koos, and Pepe Gomez, who handled that particular match, that he didn't care if Curry was in a cast. He wanted Curry, and he wanted to paint him. And so this was the start of the paint. You see Curry holding on to that thumb for dear life. You see McShane obviously enjoying what he's doing and painting belly button first on Mr. Bull Curry. And Curry here writhing in pain because of the problem with the thumb dislocation, sinks down to his knee, and McShane goes about really enjoying his work. Forward, backward, around. And if you think body painting is new, then you should have been around at this particular time. The color of beautiful green, and Pepe Gomez trying to tell Danny McShane to get going. And McShane turning to Pepe Gomez and said, I earned this right, and I'm going to take my time and enjoy it all the way through. And this was exactly what he intended to do. He had more argument with Pepe Gomez as Gomez says, get busy and paint because the man is hurt and he should be seen by a doctor. And finally there was an argument with McShane and Pepe Gomez, and this happened. And that beautiful cloud of green is the can of paint exploding over Danny McShane's head. And here is McShane racing around the ring, paint in his face, paint in his eyes, paint all over him, and he's looking for some place to hide. But Bull Curry knows an opportunity when he sees it. He picked up the paintbrush, and it's Bull Curry at work now to spread the paint and spread the word. And McShane here advanced on the cameraman, who was perched up on the top turnbuckle. And I was the cameraman, and I screamed, "No, no, no, Danny, not me." And Danny turned around and headed for the opposite direction, struck all the paint on the canvas, and down he went. And with all of the subsequent times that he tried to get up to his feet, he assumed this position because the paint was slippery on the soles of the feet. And here is McShane in several ungracious poses. And that is symbolic of the paint match on St. Patrick's Day. We have another match that we would like to show you, and this is one in which Waldo Von Erich wrestled Dory Dixon, and the loser was to have his head shaved in the ring. And we go that way to Monty Mann to show you this picture of Waldo Von Erich out cold just prior to having his head shaved. And into the ring came the barber with Waldo still out. They propped him up in a chair, held him down, and the barber went to work. He carefully went over the head of cropped hair of Mr. Waldo Von Erich. Here you see Waldo brushing some of the unconsciousness out of his eyes as the barber goes to work. He's got a patch quilt started on him, and then Waldo started to come to, and referee Otto Kuss grabbed him in this particular hold, both arms locked, dropped him down into the chair again, and hung on for dear life because the barber was about to go to work, and with Dory Dixon holding on to the feet. And it looks there like Otto Kuss may have gotten sliced by the clippers, but it ain't so. Actually, Otto is that way most of the time. The barber is a real excited individual, as you see in all of these pictures, all of that hysteria registering on his face. Right now he looks like a Mohawk Indian and looks like he may have done a job on himself, but he did manage to get Waldo Von Erich properly shorn of those locks with the clippers. And don't get them mixed up. The fellow whose head is covered there is the man who's getting shaved, not Otto Kuss. Otto is being held, but mighty effort by Waldo Von Erich to extricate himself from the predicament in which he finds himself. But the clipping went on and on and on, and here is a close-up look at how a man feels when he's getting his head shaved, or clipped rather in this particular case. But the shaving is yet to be done, and here you see the lather being placed on and the razor being readied to give Mr. Von Erich the shave that he needs. And there again, the hysterical approach of the barber. You can see all that excitement in his face. And come to think of it, Otto Kuss doesn't look too good either. But there, as they go to work shaving the head of Waldo Von Erich, the barber manages to get every hair, and he does a magnificent job of giving him a perfect haircut.
Right now, we're ready for a giant of a match, which is my way of saying here's Boyd Pierce to tell you about it.
This event, 2 out of 3 falls, 1 hour time limit. At 300 pounds in the middle corner, the heavy artilleryman from Chattanooga, Tennessee, Tank Patton. And across the ring, in the red corner, from Grenoble, France, at 500 pounds plus, Andre the Giant.
There is wrestling's answer to the Hulk, I imagine. But Andre the Giant, 7'4", just about 500 pounds. You know, when you get that big, 50 pounds one way or another doesn't really make any difference. Heavyweights are not always weighed before a match. As a matter of fact, they rarely are, because there is no weight differential that is to interfere with a match. But Andre the Giant couldn't find normal scales anyway. But this is a 2 out of 3 fall match. And as Andre advances toward Tank Patton, you see Patton bouncing around and trying to sense just what Andre is able to do. But one thing you've got to remember about Andre is that he can move. He is not just a big man. He is a man with amazing coordination. Oh! And when he pushes something, he pushes hard. Patton trying to argue that his hair was used in that fashion, but this is not necessarily so. You see Andre now with a side headlock. Now, Tank Patton is wearing a protective orthopedic appliance on his left forearm. He suffered a broken arm, but actually that arm was broken just about 3 months ago, and there have been a lot of complaints that this is just a device for him to use in applying illegal holds to his opponents. This is the opinion of most of the wrestling experts, and yet nobody has been able to get a totally official sanction to force him to take it off. I think nobody wants to be in a position of telling him that he's got to wrestle with an arm that could break again. I'm not quite sure. Andre, that time, just taught Tank Patton a lesson. He just backed right into him and really caught him hard, solidly. There's Tank Patton. I'll tell you, he wished that he was in a tank at the time that he hit Andre the Giant that time. He's complaining about the weapon that Andre the Giant used that time. The weapon was just the huge derriere that is part of the 500 pounds of Andre the Giant. Referee Nick Kozak tolling the count here and gets Tank Patton back in, and Andre now takes a reverse full Nelson. And he goes now to take the arms. Look at the size of that man. Now, Tank Patton's a big man. He's a 270-pounder. And in anybody's league, that has to be considered to be a big man. But when you're in there with Andre, you're out of your league. You're out of your skull sometime, I think. The things that work on normal-sized individuals do not necessarily work on Andre the Giant. See Patton trying in vain to fight his way out. Patton wants the hold broken because his feet are on the ropes. And Andre broke it. He's not a man to argue the point. He just dropped him away, and that was it. So Andre now knows that Patton is vulnerable. He has found that vulnerability in an awful lot of people. Patton front headlock while Andre reaches around there and takes that body and starts to put the squeeze on it. The twist on the head of Andre the Giant. And here as Andre just lifts him up and throws him away, and if there happens to be a world's record for tossing somebody, why, maybe he could get it. Waist lock. Again, turned it into a bear hug. I don't know whether a bear would be as proficient at applying the hold named after him as Andre could be with that powerful waist lock that comes with just having the power of 500 pounds. Andre caught one on the back of the neck that time with that, shall I say, broken arm, and he hit him a rabbit punch fashion. 5 minutes have gone by. This is the first fall of a 2 out of 3 fall match, and as Andre hit into the ring that time, he caused an awful lot of problems around here. The ring moved, and Tank Patton's hat fell off the ring post and almost caused a war casualty. Andre trying to set him up. Whoa! And these fellas are really going to test the rings here at the Coliseum. Andre with headbutt. I was going to say, what is there besides a headbutt that you could call it when the head is just about twice as big as an ordinary headbutt? And Nick Kozak has decided that the use of the cast by Tank Patton.
6 minutes, 3 seconds, Andre the Giant.
He has decided that the use of that cast is illegal, and that he used it illegally, and he is disqualified. The first fall goes to Andre the Giant, which is very little solace for the way he must feel, because when you catch a rabbit punch, I don't care if you're 500 pounds or whether you are 200, you're going to feel it. We'll be back here in a moment after we have this word from the studio. So now, with less than a minute remaining in the intermission period between falls, Andre the Giant is on his feet. Tank Patton has aroused this huge man. The bell has not yet sounded, and Andre has his eye on the Tank and wants to do something about it. He wants to get at him, and he looks down at referee Nick Kozak, who is 225 pounds. And a fair-sized man in anybody's country, but in this country, it's giant country. Look at the way he towers over Nick Kozak. Patton trying now to work that arm with the cast again to his advantage, but he didn't get away with it in the first fall. He was disqualified, and the Giant stood up, and that is a far piece from the top of Andre the Giant down to the mat. Andre now with a surfboard hold and using that big head of his, and he is mad enough now to do damage to Tank Patton. You see him as he lays it in there and has that huge size 22 foot of his on the back of the Tank. And the Tank, again, would probably like to be wrapped in the skin of one of the vehicles after which he has adopted his name. And, hey, a great wallop by Andre the Giant as he brought that arm down on the head of Tank Patton. Patton is down. And Andre lays his weight where it'll do a lot of good. And, oh, he just bounced on him with 500 pounds. And Tank Patton rolls out of the ring. Andre went up and come down with his weight, landed 2 feet on the cast of Tank Patton, just laid it in there, and Patton is on the floor, and the Giant stands in the ring. He's going to get the count of 20 on the floor. He is up, but the arm is close to his body. He is waving at the referee and going around the ring, and the match ends with Andre the Giant
turning inside the ring to win the second fall of the match, 1 minute 59 seconds, Andre the Giant.
He turned that cast on Patton's arm into a boomerang. And there you have the end of Tank Patton's effort to upset Andre the Giant.
Person behind the personality.
I've become accustomed to being around big people, whether I've been wrestling them or talking to them. But no one ever, not ever, becomes accustomed to standing alongside of Andre the Giant and speaking to him. Not only does it give you a crick in the neck, but it gives you a profound respect for how big a man can be. And Andre, fortunately, is big inside as well as outside. Andre, we're glad to have you back again.
Thank you. And just like I said many times before, I'm very happy to come back in this area because I love to wrestling here and I like the people here too.
Well, you know, looking at you, I think you've gotten about 3 inches taller since I last stood alongside of you.
No, I'm still the same size, 7'4", and I weigh 482 pounds now.
Now you're 482.
Yeah, I gained away a little bit.
Purpose on purpose, or just because you are Andre?
No, just like that, because I think I eat too much sometimes.
Yeah, just like all of us.
Yeah.
So you have the same problem that all other people have. Andre, you know, there are many people listening who may not know your background. Now, you were born in France, right?
Yeah, I born in France, in Grenoble, in the French Alps. But my father is from Bulgaria, and my mother is from Poland.
So you are part Polak, part Bulgarian, you are all French.
I live in North America.
Yeah. Well, now, which part of your life do you like the best?
Oh, I like all my life. I have a good time all the time. Yeah.
Well, you have a good time because tonight you are in Texas, and tomorrow you may be in Japan.
Probably, or maybe next day after that in Australia. Because I'm traveling, I don't go all over the world. All the promoter wants me, just like you want me all the time. And I'm happy to go in all those places.
Now, before you got into wrestling, you were in other athletics, like football, European football?
Yeah, we call that in France football. You call it the soccer, right? I started playing soccer, I was 11 years old. I started playing in school, and I played that for 4 years. Then I played in 2 seasons for the rugby. And I was a little bit in boxing. Not too much, I was just for 9 months in the boxing. And then I come in wrestling.
Now, did you ever play basketball?
No, because in France, that time the basketball was not so popular.
But wrestling was just a natural for you.
The way I come in wrestling was funny because when I go to the gym, when I was playing in rugby, all the wrestlers was in the gym too, and we training together. And they showed me the way to wrestling. But I was not interested in the wrestling. And one day when wrestler was hurt and they don't know who to take, who's going to take his place, then they called me. I said, I can do that. I've never been in the ring in my life. They said, oh, we know you in the gym, you're so good, and can't try. Then I tried, and I was almost 13 years ago, and I'm still in wrestling.
And you haven't stopped. Have you played rugby since then?
No, but I still go back to see those guys. All the time I'm in France, the first people I go to see is those people.
You know, I don't think anybody has the dimensions that you have. Would you be kind enough to show these people what happens when you put your hand up there? Now, if I match my wrist with yours, just look at that. And your feet, I know that you recently had some boots made. How big?
22.
Only 22.
Tony Lama making that for me in El Paso.
You mean he killed 2 cows to make them, huh? Andre, I think that there is one thing that people escape. You are not just a big man. You have great coordination. You move like a 200-pounder. You don't move like a 482-pounder. You move with speed and with skill.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate that because I know you are a great wrestler before too. And thank you very much.
Well, I have great admiration for you in the ring and out of the ring. Your father was a big man?
No, my father is maybe 6'1". My mother, she's small, she's 5'1". But my grandfather was big. He was 7'8", and he weighed 520 pounds.
If he was here now, could I sign him to a contract?
No, he passed away.
Okay. Andre, it's wonderful to have you here. We wish you good luck.
Thank you. And anytime you want me, just call me. You know the phone number. Nice to see you.
Thank you. And don't be calling me for Andre the Giant's phone number because he probably won't be home. As he said, maybe tomorrow night in Japan or maybe the next night in Australia. He is that kind of an individual. But you have just seen one of the world's most amazing athletes, Andre Rusmanov, Andre the Giant.
We'll find good reason for tuning in again next week. Now remember that the Best of Texas Wrestling is going to have a lot of variety. It's going to show you wrestling that took place years ago. It's going to show you wrestling that took place within the past few months. But you make the comparison as to which is the best. After all, we're showing you what we think is good. You have